You leave a meeting thinking everyone is aligned. The conversation felt productive. People nodded. There was energy in the room, maybe even relief. Then a week goes by. Nothing is moving the way people expected, particularly you. One person thought a decision had been made. Another thought the issue was still open. One person assumed ownership. Two others assumed somebody else had it. Several had concerns but never raised them because the meeting already seemed to be moving on. That kind of team breakdown is extremely common and it is often misdiagnosed. We tend to explain it in personal terms. We say people were unclear, passive, political, avoidant, disorganized, or simply not accountable. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Broom. Welcome to a leadership and self-mastery video. Sometimes all that is true, but often something more basic has happened. The agreements were fuzzy. And when agreements are fuzzy, smart people do what smart people always do. They fill in the blanks. They interpret, they infer. They move forward with the best private picture that they can dream up. The trouble is that each person may be carrying a slightly different picture, and the team does not discover that until work is already well underway. That is one reason smart teams still break down. Not because they are stupid, not because they don't care. They break down because too much stayed implied, too much stayed unspoken, and too much was left for each person to interpret for themselves. That creates a very expensive way to work. Expectations go unmet. Good intentions get thwarted. Important communications stay unspoken until they show up as delay, frustration, or quiet resentment. The team is working, but it's not coordinated. To get coordinated, we need the everyday agreements that make effective teamwork possible. An effective agreement is a clear, explicit, mutual understanding about what we are trying to do, who is doing what, how we're going to work together to do it, what support people can count on, and what we're going to do when everything changes, as it always does. That is what many teams are missing. They aren't missing intelligence, they aren't missing effort. They are missing real agreement. From experience with many teams and organizations, a real agreement has a few essential pieces, but they all belong in one conversation. First, people need clarity about the desired outcome. What are we actually trying to accomplish here? Not vaguely, not just let's move this forward. What is the actual result we are after, and what would success look like in observable terms? Then there is ownership. Who is doing what, by when? This is where many breakdowns begin. People think they have a different agreement when what they really have is just goodwill. But goodwill is not role clarity. If nobody can say clearly who owns the next move and by what time, the team may feel aligned, but it is not yet coordinated. Then there's Candour. How will we raise concerns, disagreements, confusion, or bad news? This is often the missing piece. People leave the meeting with that familiar sense of relief and uncertainty. Nobody wants to slow things down. Nobody wants to look difficult. So they stay quiet and make private interpretations and hope they understood the same meaning as everyone else. That is exactly how fuzzy agreements begin. Then there is support. The best agreements are not only about obligation. They're also about what help people can count on from each other. If I own a piece of work, what response can I count on from you? What access do I have to you? What happens if I hit an obstacle? What happens if pressure rises? Teams become much stronger when support is part of the agreement instead of something people are left to negotiate informally on their own. And finally, there is the reset. Good agreements are never static. They are living. Conditions change, new data appears, priorities shift. People even learn things. Mature teams know how to come back, update the agreement, and keep moving. They do not treat revisiting an agreement as failure. They treat it as an important part of getting and staying coordinated. That leads to a mistake many leaders make without realizing it. They contract for the task, but they do not contract for the relationship that makes coordination work. They talk about the deliverable, the deadline, and maybe even ownership. But they do not talk about how honest people can be when something is off. They do not talk about what support people can count on. They do not talk about how disagreement can be handled. Or what should happen when everything changes, as it always does. So the meeting feels efficient, but the agreement underneath it is weak. Then later, they are surprised that accountability is weak too. But accountability gets much easier when agreement gets much cleaner. Let me make this concrete. A leader ends a meeting by saying, "Let's move quickly on this," and everybody nods. Now that sentence may sound decisive, but by itself it's almost useless. What does quickly really mean? What concerns need to be raised now rather than later? How will disagreements be handled? When are we checking back with each other? If none of that gets named, the team is not coordinated. It is simply energized for a moment, and a lot of frustration is about to begin. Here's where this gets even more important. When the apparent agreement begins to fail, most teams move quickly to blaming. Who dropped the ball? Who missed the deadline? Who failed to communicate? Sometimes those are fair questions, but often the better first question is, what was fuzzy here? What was assumed but never made explicit? What became unrealistic? What changed and was never renegotiated? What stayed unspoken because no one had agreed on how to raise it? That question changes the quality of the conversation. Blame tightens our systems. Curiosity opens it. Curiosity gives you data. Blame gives you defensiveness. And once people get defensive, everything else gets worse, not better. This is why recontracting matters. Good teams do not assume the first agreement will survive contact with reality unchanged. They revisit, they refine, they update. They recontract before drift turns into resentment. This matters especially for leaders because teams take their cue from the leader no matter what kind of environment they are in. If the leader rewards appearance over clarity, people will nod, then hide. If the leader invites candor but punishes bad news, people won't speak the truth. If the leader assumes alignment instead of checking for it, drift will grow. If the leader normalizes revisiting agreements when conditions change, people learn that clarity is normal and revision is not failure. That is one of the quiet powers of leadership. Not just setting direction, but helping people make real agreements about how they will get there. Here's a simple practice to carry into your next important meeting. Before you end it, slow down just enough to make the agreement real. Ask, what exactly are we agreeing to? Who owns what by when? And how will we raise concerns? What support do we need from each other? And when will we revisit this? That may slow down the meeting a little, but it can speed up the work a whole lot later. That's because smart teams do not break down only from bad intentions. They break down when too much stays assumed, when too much stays fuzzy, and when too much stays unspoken. Good intentions do not coordinate a team. Clear agreements do. I certainly hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. See you next time.